Just 6 years ago, many people believed Theranos was about to revolutionize medicine. The company claimed to have a device that could run hundreds of lab tests with just drops of blood.
Its founder, Elizabeth Holmes, became the youngest self-made female billionaire until the story started to unravel with a series of articles and investigations revealing what the SEC called an elaborate years-long fraud. Tyler Shultz worked at Theranos. He was a key whistleblower, and now he's retelling the story in his new podcast. It's called Thicker Than Water. Tyler, good morning to you. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good morning. Great to be here.
I want to talk about the podcast in a moment, but first I want to ask you about the coronavirus, because you wrote this op-ed recently regarding concerns in the race to get a vaccine. What's the danger in moving too fast to develop tests and vaccines for the virus?
Yeah, so with anything, the danger of moving too fast is that you cut corners. And that's a lot of what we did at Theranos, actually. We were trying to develop tests as quickly as we could. There was a lot of money on the line, so we just started cutting corners, evading regulations, and a lot of those conditions that allowed Theranos to grow are, kind of remind me of the conditions that exist today. There's a lot of stimulus money out there. There's a lot of financial incentive to develop both diagnostics and vaccines, and we're trying to go, at warp speed, which means there are decreased regulations and potentially some corners being cut. And, we already saw some failures happen on the diagnostic side. So now I'm hopeful that we've learned from that, and the people developing the vaccines and the therapies are doing it right and moving fast without sacrificing quality.
Elizabeth Holmes, the founder of Theranos, Ramesh Balwani, the president of Theranos, they're each facing wire fraud charges in federal court. Both have pled not guilty, but because of COVID-19, their trials could be pushed back to early 2021. You were one of the original whistleblowers, but you have not been subpoenaed. Why do you think that is?
Oh, I have no idea. I actually have very little insight into what's actually happening with the criminal case. I learn about it the same way you do, reading about it in the news. But it is surprising to me that I have not been subpoenaed to testify, but that certainly doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But yeah, I don't really know what the logic is there.
We should point out NBC News did reach out to the attorneys for Elizabeth Holmes. We did not hear back. Sonny Balwani's attorneys did say in part, Tyler Shultz was a low-level employee at Theranos and lacks the experience, knowledge, and qualifications to opine about Theranos' testing, and the truth about Theranos will come out at trial. What's your response to that statement, Taylor?
I don't know. That is kind of funny to me because the CEO is a high school graduate, So how do they get to say that someone with a Stanford degree in biology who was working with this device every day doesn't know what they're talking about? And I think what I said has been proven to be true by investigations by federal authorities, CMS, FDA, SEC. They've all done a lot of digging and found that I was right. And so, yeah, I hope the truth does come out in the trial. I think the truth is already out.
We should mention that you're the CEO of your own diagnostics company now. And you described going to your grandfather, who, of course, is former Secretary of State George Shultz, who sat on the Theranos board, with concerns that you had. You go to him with these concerns, but you felt that he sided with Elizabeth over you. What's your relationship now like with your grandfather?
It's finally returned to some version of normalcy. When the SEC report came out that said Elizabeth, perpetrated a years long massive fraud, I forget the exact wording. I think he read that report, and some of the things in there were just too egregious to really turn the other way. So, for instance, there's one instance where Elizabeth was saying that the revenues their previous year was $100 million, when in reality it was $100,000. So when things are as black and white as that, I think it's hard to continue to defend her. And at that point, he realized that she was lying to him, and he kind of came over to my way of thinking. And since then, we've been rebuilding their relationship, and now things are kind of back to normal.
What prompted the podcast, Thicker Than Water?
I've told my story through the Wall Street Journal, through John Kerry's book Bad Blood, through an HBO documentary. But this was really my opportunity to tell my own story in my own voice. And a lot of these other mediums, it very much felt like I was reading about a character in a book. It didn't feel like I was reading about me. So this is an opportunity for it to really feel like me and give the listener, a better idea of what I was really going throughout this whole journey.
Tyler Shultz. Tyler, thank you. Thanks for your time this morning. Do appreciate you.
Thank you.
We should point out in a statement, George Shultz, Tyler's grandfather, did say in part that Tyler did not shrink from what he saw as his responsibility to the truth and patient safety, even when he felt personally threatened and believed that I had placed allegiance to the company over allegiance to higher values and our family. Tyler navigated a very complex situation in ways that made me proud. You can listen to Tyler Shultz's podcast, Thicker Than Water, on Audible starting tomorrow.